Hi, everyone. It's Jane McLeod here to present another positive communication standard live. This one I'm going to talk about today is about effective and safe handoffs. Effective and safe handoffs. Now, I just want to put this out there that safe handoffs are for everyone, because the Joint Commission tells us in their study of over 4,800 Sentinel events that the top contributing factor to a serious event in the hospital and healthcare setting, 80% of them were due to communication. So really, we can't afford to just not train people on safe and effective handoffs and communication. To not train them or have really super ineffective training means that catastrophe can happen, right? A sentinel event, catastrophe. So the other thing you need to remember is that this isn't just for clinicians. It's not just for at the bedside, and it's not just for clinicians. Yes, the majority of handoffs in healthcare happen between clinician to clinician, usually at the bedside of the patient, either between shifts or between departments. But think about it. Every time you transfer a phone call, you're handing off someone to another employee, another provider. And those safe and effective handoffs is really what we're getting at. So really look deep. Where do you see these happening in your department or your organization? My time as an ER leader, I really wish, I really pounded safe and effective handoffs into my nurses when they took a patient upstairs to the ICU or to the med-surg department or sent them to the operating room. They did a great job with that. But what about when we took someone to the CAT scanner? What about when someone from the CAT scanner brought the patient back to us? How many times have you gone into a patient's room and found them back from a diagnostic test just laying there, chilling, and you really weren't sure what happened in the meanwhile when the patient was away from you? So here's a what not to do. Okay, it might seem like a no-brainer to you to train how to give a safe handoff, and we want you to do that. But what we also want you to know, that you probably already know, is that when barriers happen in the healthcare setting, people who work in healthcare are famous for seeing a barrier, going around it, seeing a barrier, going around it, seeing a barrier or a challenge, slapping a Band-Aid or some duct tape on it, and just moving on. They're too busy, right? They're too busy to deal with barriers or challenges. So a really effective way that we've found to train safe and effective handoffs is to make sure that you just go right at the throat. Make sure that you call the elephant out in the room and say, let's talk about barriers. What barriers do you see in creating a safe and effective handoff, in front of the patient and family at the bedside of the patient? What barriers do you see in handing off a telephone call to a live person instead of a recorded message? What barriers do you see to always making sure when you bring a patient back from stress test or the CAT scanner that you're handing off? What barriers do you see to being a clinic across town, sending a patient to your local hospital? And how will you make a safe and effective handoff? Don't forget the transfers, right? Don't forget the transfers. Those aren't necessarily face-to-face, but man, are they a huge safety risk? Huge. So make sure in your training you talk about that. You put out. Now, is that scary when you're the trainer to say, throw it at me, anything you want, go ahead, just give me a barrier, I've got an answer for it? So you have to prepare yourself for that. And most likely, you know what they're going to say. It's It's against HIPAA. It's a privacy issue. I feel like I'm on stage. I don't like to be on stage. So make sure that all of your training for handoffs is just like super simple and easy for both employees and providers to perform. The best ones have an acronym. Right? The best ones have an acronym because you want to make sure that it's short and simple and the most important information exchanges hands. And so a lot of our partners have been very successful utilizing ISBAR-Q. There is an acronym called IPASS, and this is all found in our training on safe and effective handoffs, one of your positive communication standards. Please go to the website, and we would love to talk to you about how to totally eradicate unsafe handoffs and poor communication in your neck of the woods. Have an amazing day.